Hey, what's up? I've been thinking a lot about freedom and what that means to me. And it's just at a point in my life, I know we all go through where you have some overwhelm with a lot of things going on. And I'm a glutton for punishment, so I'm totally responsible for the fact that I've bitten off more than I can chew. That's, for those of you that know me, know that that's kind of my middle name. Mike, bitten off more than you can chew, Hambright. But I guess I'm on a mission to impact the world and to solve problems. And sometimes I probably am trying to solve problems that I created and in the first place, or trying to solve problems that I don't need to solve. Maybe somebody else should handle that. But I just like to put myself in that position. But I've been thinking a lot about freedom. What is it all for? Because, I talk about this a lot. If you've been around me for a while, I've been talking about this for as long as I can remember, about what freedom means. And I've gotten myself to a point, and I'm not saying this from any place of bragging or anything like that, but I don't have to work as hard as I do, but I still do. And so I've been thinking a lot about that. And so some of it is that I just love to kind of solve problems. And sometimes, truthfully, there's some things that I'm working on now that I've stopped doing before and I've started doing again. And some of it is I just didn't like the way that it ended. So it's like a do-over. It's a mulligan. And so I'm probably a little bit guilty of like not wanting my legacy, which is totally in my mind, to look back and say, I could have done better. So let's go at it again. But aside from that, I said this message is going to be about freedom. And the way that feeds into everything that I'm saying right now is freedom is to be able to do what you want, when you want, with whom you want. That is my definition, by the way. I think that would probably be a lot of your definitions too. And so the good thing is I have the freedom to do what I want. For the most part. If you're married or you have kids, you know that there's some asterisks next to some of these things. But what I'm working on are the things that I want to do, or at least that I chose to do. Now, I may have some regret sometimes and say, why did I start that? I shouldn't have bitten that off again, maybe. Or why did I say I could help with that if it's not something that I really had the time to do? When I want, so let's kind of finish up what I want. The great thing about that is it's a blessing to be able to do what you want, and for me to pick and choose what I get to work on. As an entrepreneur, we all know that there's also some baggage that comes with that, of some administrative burden and other things that are not the fun parts at all, but they just kind of come with taking on any initiative. So that's the what I want. I'm fortunate to get to do what I want. And by the way, I want you guys to post down and hear what freedom means to you and how close you are to it, because this has been a weird year. Last year, 2020 was weird. 2021 is weird. I think we're just in weird times now. And I know that some people just accept it. Some people won't accept it at all. And some people just tolerate it. But if you're not on the path to freedom, you should know that puts additional pressure on you during these weird times to be able to think like, I'm not close to freedom, for example, and I still have to do all this crap that I don't want to do. And I'm not enjoying myself at all. This isn't where I want my life to be. It's time for change. You got to make a change. You've got nothing to lose, right? You'll never look back and say, I never should have bet on myself. So, but little side note there. So I get to do what I want. And my question is, do you get to do those things? And if you don't, you should have to start to shift. You should shift and start to focus your time on that. When you want, I have pretty good flexibility. It's about 10:30. I'm rolling into the office right now, partly because I have a meeting here shortly. But are you getting to operate on your schedule? And again, if you have kids or you're married or you have a team, or you realize that some of these things are not perfect. I was with somebody last week that you said you should just wake up whenever your body wakes up. And of course that person has kids, but they're older now. It's like, well, I have to take my son to school. I have to do certain things, right? And then there's the with whom I want. And that really, despite the fact that I'm 4 minutes in this video, is what I want to talk about today. Last week, we had our Investor Fuel meeting, and Investor Fuel is my second family. I know I've got some Investor Fuel friends that will be watching this video. For my first family, it's my wife and my son and I, and we get to do a lot of amazing things. But my second family is Investor Fuel. We've got about nearly 150 people with us last week, and we came out of there just energized. It was an amazing meeting, probably the most amazing one we've had since at least pre-COVID. There's just a lot of positive energy there, a lot of new members, and literally there's like almost 20 of us, 20 couples that booked a trip to go to Cabo here in a few months. There's a bunch of us going out to Moab, back to the doing what we want, when we want. and with whom we want. If you're not in a group, selfishly, if you're a fit, I'd love to talk to you about Investor Fuel, which you can go to investorfuel.com. But if you're not in a group that is your kind of second family, which is probably your entrepreneurial family, around people that think like you and act like you and are weird like you or different like you, right? Because we can't have the types of conversations we want with our neighbors. We can have it with our family, our first family for sure, because they probably get us. I work with my wife, so she gets me and probably thinks I'm weird, and we're just kind of weird together. And then my second family gets me unlike anybody else, which is, for me, is my Investor Fuel family. So long video to talk about what freedom means to me. I'd love to know what freedom means to you and how close you are. And I hope that this message, or just talking about this, at least is a little bit of a catalyst to where if you're not where you want to be, and the truth is I'm not exactly where I want to be either, but is a catalyst for you to start to move in that direction. Because what none of us want is to look back on our deathbeds and have regrets about the risks that we didn't take, the things we didn't try, or the people that we cared about the most that we didn't get to spend enough time with. And again, I'm not perfect by any means. I have shortcomings in all of these areas, but I'm working on them, and I'm aware of them, I guess, is part of it. So anyway, I want you to live your best life. Hopefully this gives you a little bit of energy. Honestly, it just feels good for me to talk about it. So hope you have a great day. Let's go get them, everybody. Take care.